really believe that art therapy can have a massive positive impact on our mental health. I've personally experienced anxiety, depression, and chronic stress that affects your daily life. And I'm really excited to share with you guys that I'm working on a compilation of videos that will help us to cope with all these different things that life throws at us. I'll be uploading a whole tutorial once a week targeting these different things throughout the whole of November. And as I upload them, I'll pop the links in the description box so that you can go and check those out. Today's tutorial will be designed to help us cope with stress. Stress is something that affects us every day. In fact, I think for a lot of us, it's almost like the norm now to be overstressed, overworked, and overtired every single day. So we're going to be using beautiful blue hues and focusing on these really calm clouds to create a very serene oceanscape. So whether you'll be painting along with me or you're just going to get a cup of tea and sit and watch the video, I really hope that this video today brings just a little bit of peace into your day. And as always, the products that you'll need to complete this tutorial will be listed in the description box. First of all, we're going to start with our bigger brush. We're going to just wet it a little bit. Just dry it off. I'm going to pop a rag in here or an old towel, which is really great, and it is better than paper towels because obviously you're not throwing it away, you're recycling it. So I'm just going to damp my brush off and just dab it off on the towel. First of all, what we want to do is map out our painting. As you probably know, it's the same step every time. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of the phthalo blue, and it really doesn't matter too much at this stage, we're just simply mapping it out. We're going to go over this. So I'm going to take my horizon to about here. About there. A quick way of measuring this is to hold it with your paintbrush and just mark off where it makes it up to. Then just mark that off at each side of the painting. And yeah, that's about right. So I'm just going to rinse my brush off now. So now we've got the basic shape, we know where we're sort of working to. We're first going to start on the sky. So first of all, I'm going to take some white here. I'm going to add a little smidge of ultramarine and a little smidge of yellow ochre. Ooh, that was more than a smidge. And we're just going to keep balancing out these colours till we get a sort of grey blue colour. That is about right. And I'm going to add some more white to that. And we can use a bit of water here because we want it to be quite liquidy. So taking that, I'm going to map in where I want my clouds to go. So just using loose brush strokes, I'm just going to draw out exactly where I want them to go. Okay, so this is all going to be cloud area. I'm going to have a cloud coming in from here. And then some wispy bits here. Okay, so now I know that, I'm going to take my white and I'm going to create more of that mixture, that similar colour. And I'm just going to start pasting that in. This is why I really love using a really big brush, because I feel like you can make really bold brush marks and it can really add to the movement of the piece. So instead of being very intricate and, you know, it can create movement when you sort of
let the brush strokes happen naturally and organically almost. I'm just going to get some more white because I've already run out. Okay, lovely. So I'm just going to continue working with these clouds. And as always, I'm going to aim for not a realistic painting, as I'm not a very good realist painter, but I also don't really want to be. I feel like I enjoy the impressionistic art a lot more, and especially creating it feels more loose, and I feel like I can be a lot more free with my brush strokes. And okay, so now I'm going to put in the background of the sky. So I'm going to start off with an ultramarine, and I'm going to use it straight from the tube so it's lovely and vibrant. So yeah, I'm going to take that ultramarine, I'm going to pop it up here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start using my brush to carve into this cloud shape that we've got, which is going to sort of blend it out, and it's going to redefine the shapes of the clouds. I'm also going to take this ultramarine down from here a little bit as well. But as we're going across, I want my sky to be a little bit lighter, so I'm going to add in some phthalo blue into that. And just add a little bit of water to make it move more freely. And I'm going to add a little bit of white into that mixture too, which is like this lovely sky colour. And I'm going to work that into the clouds again. And you can just make the cloud shape whatever you like. You can literally look up and see exactly what cloud shapes are above you right now and use those as inspiration. Okay, and this method is called scumbling. Basically when you don't have much paint on your paintbrush and you can sort of move it in a round action, or you can go up and down in different sharp ways. And that's called scumbling. If you feel your brush getting a little bit dry, just add a little bit more water to loosen that up. And I'm just going to come up to meet this section here. Okay, so I'm going to wash my brush out. Okay, so next I'm going to take my medium brush, just give it a little rinse, just to dampen that. And now we're going to work back into the clouds again to redefine that cloud shape. So I'm going to take white directly from the palette, and I'm going to start working into the shapes a little bit more. And here you can see that I'm just using my brush quite lightly just to create some sharper edges, and then to soften those edges you can use a circular motion. So I think in a painting it's nice to have a mixture of soft and sharp edges, because sometimes when it's all just very sharp it's just a bit scary. But I like a mixture, creates a bit more of a balance, so you can have the odd sharp paintbrush and then use your circular motion to, you know, round it out a little bit. And areas that you want to be more white, you can go in thicker with the white paint. Usually I found like the outlines of a cloud are usually the whitest part. But some areas in the body of the cloud are also a lot more whiter. I suppose it just depends if you want to use a reference photo here. And this is what I mean by going through lots of white, guys. And what's quite nice is the grey that we used in the beginning in the clouds makes these white marks just stand out so much more. I already feel like I have arm ache. I feel like painting is actually a workout. Forget Pilates, just paint. Okay, so I feel sort of happy with this side. I'm going to start working on this side now. And already, again, I think I'm going to have to get some more white paint. So if you guys are watching this first with a view to painting it, just make sure that you have a lot of white paint. I'd maybe triple up on the amount of white paint that you have compared to the other colours. It doesn't have to be an artist grade one. Student grade is absolutely fine. Especially when you're just starting out and learning. Eventually you may want to get better art materials, but really, I mean, personally, I don't think that they make a huge amount of difference for saying how much more pricey they are. Obviously, the very, very cheap ones are going to be more difficult to use, and sometimes it can be easier to use a more expensive one because the paint is more thick with colour. But yeah, student grade is absolutely fine. Or just whatever you have lying around. If you have some cheap paints already in the house that haven't been used in a while, just get them out and have a little go. You don't have to go out and make a special purchase. And I always find a really good tip is to take a photo of your painting, and that way you can see how the clouds are forming and you can see it as like a 2D image instead of a 3D one that's so up close. I'm looking at my photo here and it makes things really clear to me, like I need to blend this out a little bit, and I think I also need to take this down. Like I don't love that gap there. Also, I feel like there's a bit too much cloud, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wash my brush out and I'm going to use my paint here. So I'm going to use a bit of phthalo blue mixed with white, and I'm just going to start carving into those clouds again. And I know this can seem like we're just doing the work and then undoing it. Ultimately, it creates a really nice effect because all of the layers end up shining through. And obviously at this point all our paintings will look a little bit different anyway, so if you're happy with the way that yours is right now, then don't feel the need to change it just because I'm changing mine. Go with what you think. And then I'm going to just take a quick snap again. The only thing that I'm going to do now is take the ultramarine and just blend that in. But so far I really love the brush strokes and the way it's coming together, and this is exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about movement, and the fact we've used large brush strokes has made this movement possible. So I'm just going to wash my brush off again. One more thing, and sorry to be annoying guys, I'm just going to take this in a little bit. I'm just going to pop the blue on and then I'm going to take the white. And I'm just going to take this in a little bit. I'm nearly done guys, I promise you I'm nearly done with the clouds. Okay, so I'm happy with the sky. I'm not going to touch the sky again because I'm happy with that. But for now, I'm going to leave it like that to completely dry. Next, we're going to start working on the bottom section. Get a top up of any colours that you need. I think I need ultramarine and some white, so I'm going to grab that now. And also, don't forget to get a little cup of tea. I have a chamomile tea on the go. So now I'm going to take the medium brush again and just rinse that off a little bit, and I'm just going to map in where the sand is going to come. So we're going to take some of the yellow ochre and add some white, and you can add a little bit of water. Being this as fresh canvas, it may be a bit sticky, and I'm just going to pop in where I want the sand to come up to. Okay, so I'm going to bring mine to up about here. So I'm just going to start pasting that in. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a dot, tiny dot of ultramarine, just to grey that out a little bit so it's not bright yellow. You can see the difference already. It just dulls it down slightly. May have to make a bit more of that. So that was white, ultramarine, and a dab of white, yellow ochre, and a dab of ultramarine. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that up and blend it into the sea, which obviously is not there yet. So I'm going to take some ultramarine and white, And I'm just going to blend that in like this. So basically what we're doing here is we are reflecting the sky. So I'm going to add a bit more white into that. And this is basically going to create a really nice transition for us to then paint into. Okay, so once that's on, I'm going to rinse out my brush. Right, so next I'm going to take some phthalo blue and some turquoise. Now this bit is completely up to you. You can either have it very dark and strong and deep, which is just using these colours straight from the tube, or you can mix in a little bit of the yellow ochre and white just to lighten that up a little bit. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of white for now, and then I might go in a little bit darker in a bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to take that down to about there. Okay, then I'm going to take my turquoise and I'm going to add a bit of white to that, a fair bit. So it's lovely and corally. Coral? That is definitely not coral. So it's lovely turquoise blue colour, just like the Caribbean Sea, and you can pop that about there. Okay, then I'm going to rinse off my brush, and using a white, I'm just going to use that to blend in. Okay, then I'm going to rinse my brush off. And I'm just going to tidy up. Just going to tidy up this sky here. My line was a little bit messy, so I've just tidied that up a little bit. I always feel like when you get a spot that looks a bit dodgy, is in an area on your painting, not a spot on your face, I always feel like it just stays there. Okay, I think that'll do. So I'm just going to rinse off my brush, and then taking a phthalo blue and a little bit of the turquoise, but mostly phthalo blue, I'm now going to add a line all the way across, super dark. Oh no, I went wrong. Okay, basically this is just going to add a bit of depth. Except for I am not steady whatsoever today. I find that sometimes I have a really steady hand, and then other days I just don't at all. Well, it's all gone to pot. So I'm going to rinse that off. And using a clean brush, I'm just going to tidy up those edges. You can use masking tape as well. Okay, I think that'll do. Okay, so wash that brush up really well, and we're now going to wait for this to completely dry. So now we're going to take our small brush out for the last stages of the painting. As always, just give it a little rinse and dab off the excess water. So now we're going to add some highlights, which I'm sure you guys have done before in my tutorials. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the white straight off the palette here, and I'm going to use that to add in some highlights. So we're going to go around where the water meets the sand. And I'm also going to add in some little strokes just around that area as well. I'm going to rinse that off, and just using the tip of my brush, I'm going to just dot some little highlights in the background. Where the sun has just caught. Okay, and then I'm going to rinse off my brush. And then to create an extra dark horizon, I'm going to take some of the phthalo blue and ultramarine, and I'm going to very carefully add in the horizon line. So if you want, you can use a ruler, you can use masking tape. I don't know if I have any of those things lying around, so I'm just going to go in freehand, so this might all go wrong. It's also hard because of I've got the camera here. Normally I'd get right up in the painting, but I'm trying to do it standing back so that you guys can see. I promise I'm not normally this awful at drawing straight lines. And then to tidy that up, you can just rinse your brush off, dab off the excess, and just use the edge of the brush to take away any dodgy bits. I'm going to take a final picture of it to double check that I'm happy with it. And as I mentioned before, this just helps us to see it in a 2D format. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm going to leave the tutorial here so that you guys can add any little bits of details that you guys want to. But yeah, well done, we did it!
Thank you so much guys for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!